everyone, and welcome to Punk Lotto Pod, the game where no one wins. This is the show where we randomly generate a year between 1976, the year of the first Ramones album, and the current year, then randomly pick one punk album and one EP from that year to discuss them. I'm your co-host, Justin Hensley, and joining me is my other co-host, Dylan Hensley.
Hi, all the way in Phoenix, Arizona.
How hot is it?
It's a dry heat.
All right, we're not going to talk about the weather update again because we did that on the last episode. All right, using our number generator, the year we wound up for today's episode was the year 2007. And as usual, we like to take a look at what else came out that year before we get into our albums. 2007.
Yeah, what's the punk landscape of 2007?
Well, our number one album isn't even a punk album. It's LCD Sound System, Sound of Silver. I do not get that band.
I saw the guy from LCD Sound System play with a bunch of like Moog pedals for like an hour because I was working Moog Fest in Asheville like 5 years ago or something like that. I was doing some engineering like recording. I was mostly like supervising college kids who were doing most of the work, but I did sit in on that session, and it was noise. It was just noise.
Yeah. I've listened to some of his albums,
and like I know that's a genre. I mean, I'm familiar with noise.
Well, LCD Sound System isn't actually noise. It really does. It is like actual music.
Yeah.
It's mainly dance, indie music, but I don't know why punk is in there. I guess it's not your typical dance music, I guess, and that's why it's called dance punk, but
yeah,
it's not very punk either.
I didn't think people even really classified them as dance punk, because
I would say dance punk should be a dance genre or electronic genre, not a punk genre. It's just the weirdness of how radio music breaks things down.
Yeah. So then number 2 on our 2007 charts is also dubiously punk. The National Boxer.
Yeah, that's their breakout album, I believe. It's a pretty good album. I could see it says post-punk revival.
It's Interpol.
Little like a rootsy Interpol.
Yeah, it's an Interpol wannabe.
Yeah.
The National is a band that like I don't dislike when I hear them, but they don't stick. Like it's just something I can ignore.
I have one or two of their albums as a promo CD from when I worked at Barnes & Noble. I think I may even have No, I don't have the Boxer. I have the one that came out after. Funny story about the Boxer, though. When I worked at Barnes & Noble, I would sometimes work in the receiving department, like in unpack the shipping. And in the bottom of one box of books was an LP copy of the Boxer, just on the very bottom of the box. It wasn't on like the packing list for that carton.
Just
when
got
I
mixed
scanned
in.
It didn't show as something that was supposed to even be in our store. So yeah, it's like somebody put it in the bottom of a box, didn't realize it was in there, and then put books on top of it, which means it shipped with like 50 pounds of books on top of it.
Yeah, it's ruined.
And I believe that copy of the record is still at that store, and that was 6 or 7 years ago. So
yeah.
Man, number 3 isn't even a punk album.
No.
It's Between the Buried and Me's Colors,
which
is the
last there because it's metalcore, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, once you start adding core, it falls under the punk umbrella.
Yeah. Which I listened to that record a lot. 2007, yeah. That was peak Between the Pea and the Tree for me. That's a little joke.
Little inside
North Carolina hardcore joke.
If you're familiar with the First in Flight hardcore DVD of all North Carolina bands, you'll get that joke.
Some of our listeners probably have that DVD.
I haven't. That's true, though. There's some good stuff on it, too. A lot of live footage.
Yeah.
Number 4 is Insect Warfare, World Extermination. I don't know why Insect Warfare is so highly rated. I hadn't even heard of them until a couple years ago, really. I wonder if this is one of those cases where Rate Music, like, later scoring and reviewing has given this an inflated score.
Mm-hmm.
I would be curious to see what this chart looked like in 2007 and see where it fell, because it probably would not even be in the top 100.
Yeah, that's an interesting one there. And then the next one we've got is Streetlight Manifesto. So that's was probably like the only active ska band for a while in 2007.
No, Bomb the Music Industry was active.
Bomb the Music Industry, yeah.
I think they're on this list somewhere. Thrice, The Alchemy Index, when they stopped really being a post-hardcore band. I guess they kind of were. Isn't that their like hard rock movement, like when they switched over sounds? Sort of.
Vesu was the album before was really kind of when they started to lean more in that direction. This is that Alchemy Index. Like, they put out 4 EPs instead of just one album.
Wilhelm Scream.
That's not a band for me.
I don't get it. People love them. Pig Destroyer, Phantom Limb, AJJ, People Who Can Eat People Are the Luckiest People in the World. It's probably my favorite out of these, like, first.
Yeah, that's the first one on this list where I'm like, that's something I'd listen to today.
Yeah.
It's the, what is it? Yeah, so last year was the 10th anniversary of that record. Yeah.
It was.
Saw them here in Phoenix in a little space on like a half a foot tall stage. It felt right.
Didn't they have like a week of shows and they had all sold out? So every time like a show sold out, they added another one. And
yeah, they had a lot of shows here in Phoenix for that record. That was really cool to see. It was really awesome because I only ever saw AJJ at like as a 2-piece the first time I saw them at Fest.
Where they dressed as Wayne's World.
Where they were dressed as Wayne's World at Fest 12.
Yeah.
So every other time I've seen them, it's been the full band, which is good.
Yeah.
But it was really, really cool to see them play that album, just the two of them.
Yeah, I got to see them on that tour too because they came to Raleigh. And it's really funny because that show, I didn't attempt to go to it. I had to find out if I had to work the next day or something like that. And so I didn't want to buy tickets until I knew for a fact I didn't have to work the next day. And then when I finally found out, the show was sold out, and I was like fucking pissed. And wound up messaging the band on Instagram and being like, "Hey, is there any way I could like get on?" And then they're like, "Yes, actually, we can get you in for free if you buy us a travel tube for a poster or something."
Yeah.
So I went to Michael's and he like sent me the link of what the exact thing to buy. I went and bought it and brought it to him, and he's like, "Awesome." And so they didn't speak to me the rest of the night, but still. It was cool that I got in that way.
Yeah. So we don't have to go through like the whole list, but some of the other big names that stand out to me: Kid Crash, Iron Lung, Ironworks, the Dillinger Escape Plan album that came out in 2007. That was a big deal.
That was like their mainstream album. Circus Survive.
Let's see here.
Dropkick Murphys, The Meanest Times. I'm pretty sure that's like the most famous Dropkick Murphys album.
Yeah. Yeah, the AJJ Ghost Mice split.
Mm-hmm.
Which now...
The first Grinder Man album, which that's Nick Cave.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, weird. Gogol Bordello's Super Toronto.
Super Toronto.
30?
Yeah.
It's too high.
Way too high. Even in terms of Gogol Bordello albums.
4 Years Strong, Rise or Die Trying.
Fall of Troy, the number 12 Looks Like You. Unsane.
Visqueen.
Yeah, Visqueen.
That's very high rated. I didn't think that people would be as onto them. So yeah, Bad Religion, New Maps of Hell.
Still a lot of metalcore, a lot of some deathcore stuff showing up.
Yeah, this is a strange list. A lot of post-hardcore. There's very little actual punk rock.
You get a little further down and you get Riot by Paramore. You get Prepare to Be Let Down by Ruiner, Destroy Their Future by American Steel, which should be way higher. New Wave by Against Me.
I know people don't like New Wave, but it still seems a little low on this chart, you know?
And that album was huge in 2007.
It was massive. That was like the biggest punk album of the year, I would say. This is a weird list. There's just a lot of strange stuff on here. Some stuff is too high and other things are too low.
Yeah.
And very little of it's truly punk.
Yeah. So much metalcore. So much grind.
Darkthrone on here. That's
2007 was a big transition year for, I think, a lot of like metalcore kids into more authentic hardcore and punk. It was for us.
The Ergs Upstairs Downstairs came out that year. That's a big deal for punk kids. Yeah, this is just a very odd year.
Was that the last Lifetime album, the self-titled?
Yeah,
that was.
It was the one they made, and they reunited, and then they haven't made another one since then. But they still play occasionally. Yeah, this is a strange list. If you're interested, go to Rate Your Music, go into the chart section, put in punk albums from 2007, and just look at like everything on there. Then you'll be surprised. Like
Bad Brains put out a record that year.
Yeah, it's like a reggae album.
Yeah,
it's not even. Well, I think we should probably get into our album for this episode. This is pretty exciting. So, our full-length album is number 13 on the albums list for 2007, and it's the Gaslight Anthem's Sink or Swim.
Jukebox Romeos, we are romantics by the light of the forward. We came to sing out a chorus, reinvent the good times, bring it on back home again. Honey, we came to dance with the girls, with the stars in their eyes, and do the jump back jack, stop and slide to the right. Never break their hearts, never make them cry, come on. Strike up the band, play a song that everybody knows. If I'm not your kind, then don't tell a soul. I'm not the one who hates being alone, so come on. And in a song, stable arena of what's left or become my America. Asking the stance, come take my hand, come on. And in the sun, stable arena of what's left or become of my America. I'm asking the stance, come take my hand, come on. Well, come on, and honey, we came to dance with the girls, with the stars in their eyes. Do the jump back, jack, stop and slide to the right. Never break their hearts.
Yeah, that's a big one for me. That's a big band for me. So I'm excited to talk about it because, yeah, it's good timing too with the 59 Sound having its 10th anniversary this year, and they're during their reunited shows. Still nothing on the West Coast, which is weird.
It doesn't sound like there will be either.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Brian, if you're listening.
Yeah. It's released May 29th, 2007 on XOXO Records. What else did they put out? What has XOXO Records done?
They did the pre-Gaslight Anthem band.
What's it called? This Charming Man?
This Charming Man, yep. They really didn't do very much. I was looking at this earlier because I was like, XOXO Records, what did they do? Like, they are a New Brunswick record label. So New Jersey, label. So thus the connection with This Charming Man and Gaslight Anthem. I'm sure they were just friends with whoever runs the label. I'm not sure who it is.
Yeah.
But they did a few other things. Old Scratch Revival Singers.
I don't recognize anything. Besides
River City
Gaslight.
Extension is a familiar name to me. That's the most recent thing they did in 2012. So it's not. No, wait. There was a.
I think that's a repress.
Yeah, a repress of
Probably
Sink or Swim, like 2014.
Mm-hmm. One in 2015.
But
yeah.
This is the Gaslight Anthem's debut album. Got good reviews when it came out. It's generally pretty well received by punk music critics, which is just like probably what punk news. I think that was like those were the main quotes that I saw. It was like punk news and something else.
Absolute Punk.
Absolute Punk, yeah.
Man, you remember when Absolute Punk was like a legit place to go get your punk news?
Yeah.
But that wasn't punk news, which you don't go to punk news anymore to get your punk news. You go to like New Noise or something now. I don't know.
Twitter, I don't know. Like
I feel like Brooklyn Vegan probably does like all the main reporting.
Yeah.
For punk music these days. AV Club, yeah.
Yeah.
So the first time I heard the Gaslight Anthem, and probably you as well,
most people
was, well, specifically, we heard the song "I'd Have Called You Woody," Joe, on a Rock Sound magazine CD compilation.
Oh, that was the first place. I was thinking that we just like randomly downloaded the 59 sound when it leaked because everyone was talking about it.
No,
but we actually heard "I'd Have Called You Woody Joe," first.
I was crawling around in my head in the haze of a trance till Rico said, I'ma turn you on to the sound, cool out your head. This is the sound from Camden Town. And then I heard it like a shot from my skull to my brain. I felt my fingertips tingle and it started to rain when the walls of my bedroom were trembling around me. This ramshackle voice over a taco for blue beat telling me he's only looking for fun. And this was the sound of the very last gang in town, as heard by my wild young heart, like directions on a cold dark night, saying let it out, let it out, let it out, you're doing alright. And I heard it in his gang soul, how it wasn't just the same sad song, saying let it out, let it out, let it out, you're doing alright. And you're doing alright. Are you doing alright? And I carried these songs like a comfort wherever I go. And they was there when my summers was high, and there when she left me alone, saying the soul is hard to find. And I never got to tell him, so I just wrote it down. I wrapped a couple chords around it, then I let it come out when the walls of my bedroom trembled around me. This ramshackle voice over a tackle for blue beat.
Rock Sound, the British.
British alternative. The British alt press is what it was, basically.
Yeah.
It had better taste in music though than alt press at the time. But even I feel like they even probably talked about this record. I do remember this song was on that comp, and then the 59 sound came out not too long after, so it was obviously like the label pushing older material before the new songs were ready, just to get people like aware of the band by the time 59 sound came out. And it's funny because if you look at like the reviews from around that time period, most everybody compares them to Against Me.
Mm-hmm.
Which, listening to it now, is kind of funny because it's still very distinctly the Gaslight Anthem sound.
Yeah, it is.
Just a little crunchier, a little more raw than 59 sound,
Yeah, I think the Against Me thing comes from maybe more like common influences.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think maybe Against Me was drawing on, and Gaslight Anthem were drawing on similar, like, Clash, Hot Water Music, Bob Dylan influences, and that's maybe where the similarities come from. I've never encountered the Gaslight Anthem, like any quotes from them or heard them say anything really about Against Me.
Yeah, we also have to remember Against Me was like the biggest punk band in the world at that time too. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure anything that was kind of like that sound was getting compared to them.
Anything gruff and folksy and Heartland,
because Hot Water Music hadn't released anything in a couple years.
Yeah. Yeah. This record, I hear a lot more. I mean, definitely the Clash influence, and a lot more of the Bob Dylan influence on Brian Fallon's songwriting earlier on than the oft referenced Springsteen influence.
Yeah. I kept seeing Tom Petty references too, because they do like name him on a few songs.
Mm-hmm. There are some other lyrical allusions to some of his songs. I definitely see, and that's the thing. People always want to be like, "Oh, Brian Fallon sounds like he's doing a Bruce Springsteen impression," and I'm like, "Really? He sounds more like he's trying to sound like Tom Petty to me." Because when his voice gets up there and that higher range and the gruffness of his voice, it sounds more like Tom Petty to me. I mean, he's got the Jersey accent.
Yeah, I feel like he is doing more Springsteen, though, because Tom Petty's voice is so unique and hard to imitate. I don't know. Maybe it's a guy with a Springsteen voice trying to do a Tom Petty impersonation.
Yeah.
So he doesn't, like, have the right tone at all. They do write similar themes, though. Like, I mean,
yeah,
all of these songs sound like they're about the 50s. Like,
yeah. This one's got, the Sink or Swim has more of his, like, his 1930s and 40s, like, Hollywood obsessions, and not as much his, like, his 50s and 60s, like, cars and girl groups and Motown.
Yeah. To me, Gaslight Anthem are like a concept band. Like, and it's all about Marlon Brando motorcycle gang movies. It's kind of like this is, in my mind, I'm equating this to like Coheed and Cambria, where it's a concept band, or maybe more like Lucero with like all of their songs about running from the law and
yeah,
joining the army in the 60s. And
yeah, I mean, I know that a lot of people criticize Gaslight Anthem for like the blue collar aesthetic, the Springsteen wannabe, working class thing, and it's I don't know. I think it's pretty authentic to Brian Fallon's interests, at least.
Yeah,
he's really does seem to be a car guy. He really is like a classic gear aficionado. Like, I think hanging out at diners is like actually a thing that punk kids in New Jersey in 2007 did. So I think a song like "We're Getting a Divorce, You Keep the Diner," that's an actually authentic New Jersey like breakup ritual.
Well, I mean, in the South, it's Waffle Houses late at night after a show. Like, that's a thing we do here.
Yeah. So it's endearing to me. It's something I relate to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Some of my favorite things in the world ever are like going to a show and then after the show stopping at Waffle House and just hanging out with your friends, before going home, even if you still got a 3-hour drive.
Yeah, very common. Like, if you lived in North Carolina, anywhere in the South and you're a punk, you're gonna drive several hours.
Yeah,
those Northeast kids with their tight knit scenes where everybody wants to tour the Northeast, so because it's really easy, you drive like 2 hours and you're in a totally different metropolitan area and entirely different crowd to play to.
Yeah, you're not overlapping like the audience as often, because if you play North Carolina, well, I played in Chapel Hill. Do I really need to play in Raleigh? Because then nobody from Raleigh is going to come,
Yeah.
if there's going to be a show in Chapel Hill. You just made 2 small shows instead of 1 big show.
Yeah. Yeah.
The personnel on this album, because I like to talk about who worked on the albums. It's the same as every Gaslight album, right?
Yep.
Brian Fallon on guitar and vocals, Alex Amelia on guitar, Alex Levine on bass, 2 Alexes, and Benny Horowitz on drums. So that was the lineup for every album, right?
Yep. They never changed. They went on hiatus, rather than replacing any members, because I think that was the thing. Like, some of the guys were maybe getting a little bit tired, and
of the tour life.
Because Alex Rosamilia, guitar player, he's still playing with Brian Fallon solo. He's in his band, so I think Benny wanted to maybe do some other things, and then I think Alex Levine maybe was probably just tired of touring. He seems to be the one that hasn't done much else.
I feel like this happens a lot with bands. Like, especially ones who got really big, they'll run for 10 years, and then they get worn out, and then they take a break, and then because they never really broke up, they'll probably get back together and do something in the future. Maybe the next 5 or 6 years, we'll see a new Gaslight album come out.
Yeah, they want to let a few years go by and get the bad taste of Get Hurt out of everyone's mouth.
Yeah,
that last record was rough.
Yeah, I listened to a couple clips of each album after this just to see what the progression of the sound was, and that is a weird one in the discography because it sounds nothing like the rest of the album.
Yeah, there's a really natural progression through 59 Sound, American Slang, and Handwritten. I love all of those records, and I would say 59 Sound's the best, but then American Slang and Handwritten are tied and really close to it for me. I really, really loved that band. I've seen them several times, and it's really cool. They did many of the times I've seen them, they played stuff from Sink or Swim. A lot of these songs were, they stuck probably, with them. They were part of their set
probably
list.
We Came to Dance. Wooderson, or could have been a Contender.
Drive is was pretty common on their set list. We're Getting a Divorce, You Keep the Darner is pretty common.
Ready or not, here they come. It's zombie time.
We were the magnificent dreamers in secret lamplight hideouts. We swore the world couldn't break us, even when the world took us down. And so here I am struggling out in the mighty jungle, moving 18 miles a minute, but not slowing down for nothing. And I look to my left, and I look to my right, and I'm calling out for my brothers, but it's so dark in this night, am I alone? Did they fall down by the wayside? Was I moving too blind to see them? Were they calling out to me? Or did despair set in, and were the things that we wanted?
The ones that fit their theme.
And then some of those EP songs, the EP that they released after this one,
The Senor and the Queen.
Senor and the Queen, those are great songs too. It's a great little 7-inch, double 7-inch, I think was how it was released.
There's a 10-inch version, right? Too. When I started listening to this album for the first time, I was thrown off because I don't think I had ever listened to the entire album before. Because when it starts off with boomboxes and dictionaries, it has a real weird guitar tone, on that opening. I don't know how to describe it. Kind of like warbly almost. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird because none of the other songs really have that tone on them. It's just that opening track. It's ooh, that's odd. I didn't finish talking about the personnel, but the producer on the album was Josh Jacobowski, who was in Hot Cross, Neil Perry, and Joshua Fit for Battle.
So weird.
It's this screamo dude like producing this Heartland punk album.
Yeah.
It's funny because he didn't really do a lot else. Like this was like one of his big things he worked on, and not a whole lot else besides the bands he was in. Yeah, I was reading about like why the Gaslight Anthem haven't really got back together seriously is because Brian Fallon says he doesn't feel like what he's writing fits the Gaslight Anthem, which I guess kind of lends to the idea that it's kind of a concept band, like not entirely a concept band in that they're making a story and all that type of stuff, but they're like a themed band.
Yeah. I know on his last 2 records he's definitely tried to stretch a little bit, and I guess that's maybe what he means, but I don't feel like he's on Painkillers, especially on Painkillers. I don't think he was stretching any further than he did on Get Hurt, which was the last Gaslight record. Painkillers and the next record, Sleepwalkers, to me, both, they feel pretty close to Gaslight Anthem to me.
I wonder.
I mean, he's got songs about, Etta James and,
I wonder if Get Hurt was going to be like the sound of Gaslight Anthem going forward, and because people hated it, he's like, well, "Fuck it, we're not gonna do Gaslight anymore. I'm doing these songs solo, and whenever I feel like writing Gaslight style songs, then we'll do it." I don't know.
Yeah,
it could be. Maybe you people should shut up whenever there's an album you don't like.
You're breaking up good bands.
You cannot like it, just don't listen to it.
Yeah. But yeah, we've definitely digressed a lot in talking about the Gaslight Anthem in general, but Sink or Swim specifically. I guess there's really not a whole lot to say. Like the context of the band was, the history of the band up to that point was this, it's their debut. They played local shows. And then they did a tour with the Loved Ones, and everything kind of just leads into the 59 sound as far as much of the information that you find. Which there is a great oral history on the 59 sound that if you're into the Gaslight Anthem, you've probably already read, but if you want to know more about them, that's a good one to read. That's a really cool
Doing research on this album was pretty difficult because it seemed like no one listened to it when it was new. And I only found like a handful of like small reviews on this one, and then every other around the time, and then every other review about this album is from people who found Gaslight Anthem with the 59 sound and later. And so like every review is written with 59 sound in mind. So it's hard to find like a pure review of this album. Because I guess just that many people didn't know it. I mean, XOXO Records wasn't big, so I don't know. Like I said, they formed in 2006, so this album came out in 2007. They'd been a band for a year. They hadn't done any singles. They hadn't done any EPs before this. No demos released. They came out there with a full length first.
Yeah,
which is always hard.
That's a big leap of faith.
Worked out for them.
That's a big leap of faith for a band to just go all in on a full length record. So many bands do a single, a 7-inch first, or even just like a demo,
Yeah. Though I guess I don't know, if I had this batch of 12 songs, I would be like, hell yeah, I want to release these, as an album. Why would I parse these out as EPs? It's a
solid record.
It's a solid record. Like overall, it's really good.
There's dynamic range. There's acoustic songs. There's slower stuff. Like it's.
Yeah, I'd say "We Came to Dance" is probably my favorite song. Which it's really funny because every time I listen to the song, and then he does the line like, "You never seen a 2-step," and then the gang vocals go 2-step, and I just imagine like hardcore dancers like going wild.
Yeah, I mean that song is a reference to Lifetime.
Yeah.
A New Jersey band.
Yeah. Which have connections to the Loved Ones, I believe.
Was Dave House in Lifetime? We should know that.
I don't think Dave House was in Lifetime. He's in the Loved Ones. But I think someone else in Lifetime was in The Loved Ones with him. Or maybe it's somebody from Paint It Black. There is a connection there. It's not Dan Yemin.
No.
Or Ari.
No, Dave House was in Paint It Black.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, that makes sense why there's the Loved Ones connection. Yuck. I did not know. Has he always been in it?
No. I think he was only
three
on
guitarists. What, CVA?
Probably.
Because Loved Ones took off not too long after Paint It Black did too.
Yeah, he was only on CVA.
Yeah. Funny. I had no idea.
Yeah, and then Loved Ones also has Kid Dynamite member, bass player.
Mm-hmm.
Trial by Fire's drummer. Dave House was a roadie for the Bouncing Souls.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, that explains a lot actually about Dave House.
My good buddies in the Bouncing Souls.
He always talks about other people he's friends with.
He is the biggest name dropper in punk.
I've heard him name drop Brian Fallon and
Laura Jane
Grace. Yeah.
I saw the Loved Ones on tour with the Gaslight Anthem. First time I saw them.
I'd rather see the Loved Ones than Dave House solo.
Yeah.
Which I've seen Dave House solo. So
Yeah.
So the album has a 3.62 on Rate Your Music. It's the second highest rated album they've released after the 59 Sound. That's funny that people like this one more than they like American Slang or Handwritten.
It's more authentic. I don't know.
It's true punks.
I'm still salty about the true punk backlash against Gaslight Anthem, as if all these people don't know all the words to 59 Sound. Like, I'm just like, American Slang and Handwritten are great records, and if you wrote them off, post 59 Sound because of their popularity, I challenge you to go listen to American Slang and Handwritten, because those are solid records.
Well, I'll admit that I am on that. I loved the 59 Sound when it came out. Probably not as much as everybody else loved it, but I really enjoyed the album and I listened to it a bunch of times. But then when American Slang came out, it did nothing for me. I listened to it maybe once or twice, and I was like, and then never went back to them after that. That's probably due to me not being as... I didn't put 59 Sound on all the time. So, and I bet if I went and listened to American Slang now, and the little bit I did play from the album while getting ready for this episode, I was like, oh, why didn't I like this? I don't know why I didn't like it.
I know that the initial reaction, and my personal initial reaction to American Slang was like, well, it's not as good as 59 Sound. Right. And so that was definitely a turnoff to people. And it has the feeling of, I know that it was pretty rushed for a follow-up. It came out 2 years later, but it couldn't have been that rushed. From what I read, as far as like the actual writing and production of it was rushed when they got around to it, because they did tour quite a bit post 59 Sound.
I mean, I remember when 59 Sound came out, they blew up. Like,
yeah.
As soon as that album came out, everyone was listening to them and talking about it. So it didn't even, the album wasn't out for a while. People jumped on it immediately. I don't know. I guess they were anticipated because of the people who heard Sink or Swim really liked it and were like, oh, you're going to have to listen to this new album when it comes out. Yeah, it's funny that they still think Sink or Swim. You'd think just based on the number of reviews. No, maybe that's what's affecting it too, though. There are like 731 ratings on Rate Your Music for Sink or Swim and 1,145 ratings for American Slang. They'd probably be closer if they had the same number of ratings in score. Because the American Slang's got a 3.38.
I'm sure American Slang's also got a bunch of shitheads who are just like, sounds like Bruce Springsteen. Sucks.
Yeah, I feel like that was the mainstream's reaction. They're like, we already have a Springsteen band. They're called the Hold Steady.
Yeah.
I distinctly remember reading a review for 59 Sound in like Paste magazine that said, for when you ran out of Springsteen comparisons on the Hold Steady and didn't have enough left over for the Gaslight Anthem or something like that. I was like, I don't know. I don't think Hold Steady even sound that much like Springsteen.
Yeah, not really to me.
Well, what would you give the album a rating?
Pretty high. 4.75.
Oh, well, you're going that high. I said 4.25. Just because I'm not a big gas head. Is that what you guys call yourselves?
I'm not a big gaslighter. Ugh. That's
Yeah.
gas head.
I do think Gaslight Anthem paved the way for beach slang, but that didn't quite work out as well for them as
Yeah.
Gaslight.
When I saw getting off topic again, when I saw beach slang last year at Fest, he's very self-aware.
Too self-aware.
Well, and he said something like, he was like, I was talking to our tour manager and like saying, you know, on this tour, like, are these the last days of beach slang? Like, you know, is the fire dying or whatever? And it's like, but no, you guys proved it wrong. It's like, well, I mean, you're at Fest. Like, I mean.
Oh, you're worried about it, though.
But yeah, they're showing their concern. They're slipping. Well, like, if you would stop rewriting the same songs and doing acoustic versions and. Come on, dude.
Cover songs and put some new music out. Got off topic again. Yeah, why is it hard to talk about this album? Is it? I don't know.
It's a really great record on its own.
Yeah,
but there's not a lot of history around it. Like, it all feeds so much into the rest of the Gaslight Anthem's career.
Like, I feel like we talked about the 59 sound as much as Sink or Swim, and I guess that shows. Like, when I was looking at reviews and how there were very few reviews of this album that happened before 59 sound came out. So
they were really nobodies before that record. I mean, they really were nobodies.
Plus, it was only a year later. So, I mean, that's pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah, I mean, they wrote 59 sound pretty quickly. Kind of just like struck while the iron was hot. Had a bunch of really good ideas. Yeah, toured out to California, finished writing the record, recorded it, and the things moved pretty quickly too. Like, they were working on this record before they were working on the 59 sound before they were signed to Sidewind Dummy. And then they played some shows, and then they were like, "Hey, we'll put out your next record," and it just kind of happened, and they blew up. Springsteen came out and played on the 59 sound at one of their shows. And, yeah. Well, we can. I guess we can move on to our EP for today.
Yeah. So, the EP we got, and if you listened last week, you'll hear that we had to pick quite a few different times to finally get an EP that we could listen to.
Yeah.
Easily available. And we wound up with number 49 on the EP list, and it is The Maine, The Way We Talk.
She's fresh to death, she'll be the death of you. Seduction leads to destruction. She's fresh to death, she'll be the death of me. She's fresh, but not so clean. Teeth, yet he still thinks she's amazing. And she's been playing games ever since 98. Shallow is as shallow does, yeah. Some people never change. And she's so fine, she thinks she's so damn fine. She might be fine, but she ain't worth a second of your time. Yours fake is the moans you make, and yours weak is the heart to break. Yours fake is the moans you make, so just give us a little break.
There was some apprehension. I know when we drew that one, and that apprehension, I think for me, was valid. It was confirmed. It's not good.
Man, fuck the Maine. God damn it. This fucking EP is fucking trash. Oh, I fucking hated every second of it. Oh.
This is their second EP.
This is by far the worst thing we've done on this show.
It is, if you're not familiar with the Maine, they are they're from Tempe, Arizona, which I did not know.
Yeah, I found that. I was like, what? This is your fault. Maybe you've worked with one of them in a coffee shop.
Yeah.
No, these guys are rich because they're pieces of shit.
We can talk about Tempe music a little bit.
Is the Maine your most famous band?
No. You know who our most famous band is. It's the Gin Blossoms. The Gin Blossoms are from Tempe, Arizona. They're classic East Valley band. Some other famous Phoenix bands. Jimmy Eat World is from Mesa, so that's East Valley as well. Yeah. Meat Puppets are from Phoenix. Let's see, what's the other? I mean, there's Dierks Bentley is from Phoenix, and I mean, there's other country people from the area, but as far as punk related alternative bands, there was another one that stood out to me, and now I'm drawing a blank. They're Refreshments. They're a Tempe band, who did the King of the Hill theme song. Yeah. Yeah, Tempe used to be in talking to some people that I know who are, around and involved in music and aware of the music scene in Tempe in the 80s and 90s, Tempe was the music scene in the Phoenix area. Tempe was the more working class area, and so, and the university was there. So that's like where a majority of the music venues were, downtown Tempe. And then that all kind of like died.
Yeah, because the Maine came in there and became like one of the biggest bands working there. Jesus Christ.
Everything kind of died down. A lot of the music venues closed. And everything went really commercial in Tempe. So everything moved towards Phoenix. So the arts district in Phoenix is where a lot of the music scene was. But even that's kind of dying down too. And I don't know where music is going in the Phoenix area. It's pretty commercial right now. But the Maine
fucking EP. This is their second EP. And by this time they hadn't released a single full length yet.
I listened to this EP thinking like I wanted to try and be open-minded to it because they're a band with longevity. They have lasted a really long time. And they, I wanted to say like this is a very early release. They were probably like teenagers. I'm sure they were just like 18, 19-year-olds.
God, I hope so. Some of these lyrics, don't worry, I've got a lot to say about the lyrics. So,
and it's pop punk from 2007. I mean, it's what you expect it to sound like.
Going in with an open mind,
I did not enjoy it. No,
Hey, so you remember how in the Run Kid Run episode we were like, "Oh, this isn't good. And this is everything wrong with emo pop punk in 2006." This is everything that's wrong with emo and pop punk in 2007.
Yeah, this is where Run Kid Run was this is everything that's wrong with specifically Christian punk music in the mid 2000s. This is everything that's wrong with mainstream punk music in the mid 2000s.
And probably still today. I feel like this sound really hasn't died, unfortunately. Especially in the alt-press crowd, because the Maine are one of those alt-press bands that's like AP Mag put them on the cover probably half a dozen times. And I was always like, who the fuck are the Maine? Like, this is my first time listening to the Maine. And I was like, it's so fucking generic. But, like, it's doing that Taking Back Sunday thing, minus the screams or the shouting. Who else?
The Academy is... Boys Like Girls.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like
it's that stuff.
I'm trying to think of the worst stuff from that time period.
Yeah, it's that kind of stuff. Yeah. There's like some weird synth work on this album EP that like they're trying to do like the Motion City soundtrack thing, I guess. Like very similar sounding.
More like Hello Goodbye or like I don't know. Yeah.
They're a main stage of Warped Tour band.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is a 2009 main stage Warped Tour.
You're looking at their Wikipedia page.
Oh no, was that actually on there?
There's a picture of them, the Maine, performing at Warped Tour in Charlotte, North Carolina, in 2009.
Oh, fuck. God damn it! Yeah, God. Oh, I don't. I fucking hate it. Every second of this thing.
So. You wanna dive in on the lyrics?
Yeah. Let's do the personnel real quick.
Okay.
Just so we know who to accuse of war crimes. The personnel on this album are John O'Callahan on vocals and piano. Got it. That piano is very essential. Jared Monaco and Kennedy Brock on guitars. Garrett Nicholson on bass and Patrick Kirsch on drums. The EP was produced by Corey Spots, who did some work with Bless the Fall, and Matt Grabe, who didn't do anything else. So, you know, one of the biggest criticisms about emo music and pop punk is it's misogynistic. Mm-hmm. And, you know, people used to throw that at, like, Saves the Day a lot. And, yeah, I totally see why. You know, like, I get it.
You've ruined my life. Yeah. The girl, the whore, the slut. You have broken me. I am.
So,
yeah.
The Maine, while Saves the Day were kind of lyrical with their misogyny, you know, like made an attempt at it, at writing something unique, or even like something like. Sonically, it doesn't sound anything like them, but like Kill Whitney Dead, at least they were like going in the extremist direction they could with it. The Maine are like the subtle version that's like trying to sneak into your brain and like, you know, I don't know. I feel like they have a huge female fan base too, which is crazy because he doesn't like women. Like.
Yeah,
he does not like
the Gaslight Anthem. Drew their name from you know, the way they used to light city streets. But the Maine will gaslight you. That's the tagline for this episode, I think.
Okay, there are 3 particular songs on this EP that the lyrics. Well, there are 4 songs there, really, but one of them, I'll explain why that one. I don't count that one as much. Okay, so let's just listen to... I have a lot of lyrics written down here. But these are the lyrics for the title track, or just some lines from it. She's fresh to death, she'll be the death of you. Seduction leads to destruction. She's fresh, she's fresh, but she's not so clean. Cute face, slim waist, she's got him in a craze. Yeah, we think he's going crazy. When she speaks, it makes me grind my teeth. Yet he still thinks she's amazing, and she's been playing games since 98. That doesn't rhyme. That's not a rhyme. Shallow is as shallow does. Yeah, some people never change, and she's so fine. She thinks she's so damn fine. She might be fine, but she ain't worth a second of your time.
Ugh.
You're as fake as the moans you make, and you're as weak as the hearts you break. You're as repeats that.
Wow.
Come on and give me a break. Sex sells, and your sex sells. This time CELLS makes all the lost boys drool. 'Cause you're a dime, but they'll have to wait in line until one of them makes it to you. Cute face, slim waist. Yeah, I think I'm going crazy. I have a long list of things to say, but I'll leave it at you amaze me. What the fuck? So
Yeah. There's no wit. There's
my bro likes this girl and she's so fucking annoying, but God, I want to fuck her. It's don't leave this dude alone with your girlfriend because he will make a move.
yeah. Woof.
Oh my God. And this is a running theme on like multiple songs on this. Like check out the lyrics to this one. Give me anything. The boys, they have their eyes all over you and you're loving every second of attention. I need to find just some way to get through, or at least some way I can mention. You're running through my veins. You feel like a freight train. I'm trying everything to keep my hands off of you. So give me something. Please just give me anything, because I want you more than they do. He's a date rapist is what he sounds like in that
Come
song.
on, just
he's negging her into sleeping with him. Is what
it's really unhealthy. Like, for a man to, get aroused, but, like, not, like, finish. Like, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah. God.
Yeah. So, yeah, I did not enjoy it. A lot of the lyrics really were cringy. I mean, just the music on its own wasn't good, and then you add the lyrics to it, and it's really bad.
So, I have one more song that I pulled out lyrics for. This is for The Town's Been Talking. You can kind of guess what the song's
It's about gossip.
Yeah, it's another song about being hot for another guy's girl, basically. It says, baby, my ears are open and I'm watching you. That language your body's speaking, it makes me sick. And you're not so smooth because you do it for the thrill. And I'm watching you. Yeah, I'm watching you. Because you're in love with love, but you're not in love with him. And I can tell by the way you play it off like you don't know what you're doing to him. When I get the chance to expose the truth, I'm going to make my move. What the fuck? This dude is like menacing. Like,
Yeah.
what is wrong with him?
So I was curious to see, like, maybe this guy's just kind of like, he was just like a dumb teenager when he wrote all these songs, and like maybe they matured. I kind of sampled a little bit of the full length, the first full length. It's really not much better there. And then even still, then the next record, Black and White, which was kind of like, seems to be one of their more popular ones, one of their really big ones.
Yeah, it was a crossover hit.
And it's still pretty gross. I mean, just going by song titles, if you infer what they mean, like Don't Stop Now, Right Girl, Inside of You, that's
God.
frightening. Give It to Me. Yeah. I was surprised. Like, they didn't...
The album is called Can't Stop, Won't Stop.
They didn't seem to really mature.
Do you know what they sound like, though? They changed their sound. Now they sound like fucking Maroon 5. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't learn something horrible about this dude.
And they don't... Yeah, and I mean, lyrically, it still seems very much the same. It's about getting girls and... Yeah, Bad Behavior. That's on their 2017 album. Lyrics for that one are... It's all very fixated on sex.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they have a very positive view of women.
No.
Which it's really weird because they have a very women-heavy fan base.
Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, I'm assuming it's a younger audience, like who isn't really paying attention. I mean, that's what alt press does. Like, the AP is marketed towards younger listeners for the most part.
Yeah.
because that's who like buys merch, I guess.
Yeah.
I saw one Amazon review that said it was from someone's. We bought this CD for our granddaughter, and it's one of her favorites. And I was like, oh, if you knew the lyrics, would you?
Yeah.
Probably didn't, because it was 2007 or whatever. Oh, so there's a song on the Spotify version, which is I think it's mostly the digital versions as well. The final track is a cover of the Akon song "I Wanna Love You," which is a song about a stripper.
Yeah.
Convict music, and you know we up front. I see you winding, grinding up on that pole. I know you see me looking at you, and you already know I wanna love you. You already know I wanna love you. You already know.
Are they singing? Because I listened to it once and I just didn't register what they were actually saying until I got to that song, and like the chorus is like, "I see you up on that pole," and I was like, "Ugh, did the Maine write a stripper song? That's weird." And it's like, no, it's an Akon cover, and and it was on one of those compilations. It was on the compilation "Punk Goes Crunk."
Ugh.
Wow, that's two things. Remember when crunk was a thing? And those Punk Goes compilations were... I think that's part of what people think of whenever you tell them you're a punk fan. They're going to be like, ugh, yuck. Like, I have a friend at work who's like... I don't think he understood what kind of music I was actually listening to when I told him I loved punk music. Because he's like, oh, I hate it so much. I was like... Are you sure you know what I'm talking about? Because it's not the Maine. God. Oh. I hated it. Music. Let's talk about the music. What is it? It's Taking Back Sunday, but it's something else. Like, who was the band who put in those backing pianos and like layered acoustic guitars over electric guitars?
I mean, Reliant K did that a lot. It definitely,
yeah, but I don't think
it was reminded me a little bit of some of the later Reliant K stuff.
That could have been more of a reaction to the sound.
Let's see. I'm trying to think of bands from that time period. I don't know, like Jack's Mannequin.
One friend I would talk to, I said we were doing this album, and he said, "Oh, I thought it was the Almost is who you were doing." Because he thought it was a side project. I was like, no, I think this is the only thing they've done. And he was thinking of the side project of the Under Oath guys. I guess you take some elements of Jimmy Eat World's later music, and because like the pianos and the acoustic guitars, like I could hear that on later Jimmy Eat World stuff, and then you give it like the energy of You're Taking Back Sundays.
Yeah.
Which is so funny that they are still using their emo roots by using the foundation that Jimmy Eat World kind of laid out there. I gave it a 1.25 out of 5. The 0.25 I give to the musicianship. These guys can play their instruments.
Okay.
My original rule was, I think, is if the music is fine and competent, then you at least get a 2. The lyrics are what drug this below the 2.
Yeah.
This is damaging. Like, this is harmful.
Yeah, it's gross.
To whoever listens to it. Male or female, like...
Yeah, I mean, it affirms the worst possessive traits of fragile masculinity. That was one of the things that it really lyrically, this and like their later stuff, from what I heard, like it reminds me a lot of like mainstream country right now, which is all just like fragile men who are just like, oh baby, wish you text me.
I listened to a couple songs on the song Pioneer. They sounded like Florida Georgia Line without southern accents. Like it, though oddly that's one of their lowest rated albums on this chart. That's funny. I am happy to see that the Rate Your Music community doesn't really like this band either, because their highest rated album is a 3.5, and that is an acoustic album that just came out this year that only has 4 reviews. Everything else has about 70 to 100 reviews, and the highest one of those is a 3.29, which isn't great, but it's not. But there's some 2.82s and 2.84. Like, that's accurate. God, this is so bad. And they're huge. Like, I don't get it.
There's really nothing to me about this band, like, musically, definitely not lyrically, to make them stand out. I mean, it's funny, you said they sound like Maroon 5, and I'm looking at that album cover, black and white, with that giant M in a circle, and I'm like, did they always want to be Maroon 5?
It does.
And it kind of seems
like
they are, from the beginning, we're kind of fusing like a Maroon 5, like, gross sexuality with
Maroon 5's
with
gross.
pop punk.
Yeah. Oh, interestingly, they've maintained the same lineup since 2007.
Yeah, I thought I looked at the last record and the names looked familiar, like it was the same.
Yeah,
people.
they had 2 different guitarists in the year 2000. So I'm assuming maybe that very first EP, because they formed in 2007. So this EP came out the same year they formed. Who put their music out? Can't Stop, Won't Stop was on Fearless.
Yeah, I was gonna say they were on Fearless from this EP on for a while, I think.
Black and White was on Warner Brothers. Our buddy Howard Benson produced that album.
They jumped up pretty quickly then.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one that I remember when I worked at Barnes & Noble seeing in the store, and I was like, what? Why do we have a Maine CD in here? Weird. Then they were on Action Theory Records for the Pioneer in 2011. I don't know what that is, what label that is.
So it looks like they got dropped from a major pretty quickly.
Yeah, it probably didn't do what they wanted. Forever Halloween came out on 8123 Records. I'm not familiar with that one. And it's not 6131.
No.
That's a label I do know. Yeah, who are these labels? American Candy came out in 2014. God, it's so gross. It's a girl blowing a bubble on the cover. That's 8123 Records. And then, the one that came out. So they've been on 8121 for the last 3 albums. 8123 on the last 3 albums. Yeah, I don't know who that label is.
Let's look it up.
Let's find
it's
out.
probably their label.
God. The last album charted at number 32 on the Billboard 200. But that's because nobody's buying CDs anymore. 8132 Records.
It's the Maine.
I can't even find the record label.
8123.
23? I typed 32. That might be why nothing showed up. Oh. Lydia. You ever wondered where that band Lydia ever came from and how no one has ever heard of them or talks about them, yet they have a massive rabid fan base online? This is where they live. It's a Phoenix label.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the Maine.
The Maine, A Rocket to the Moon.
I'm pretty sure it's probably just the Maine's label.
So that's who's listening to the Maine. It's Lydia fans.
Who are Lydia fans?
I don't know. I know they exist, but they're one of those weird bands that I know no one who's listened to them. I've never heard a song by them. I've never seen their albums in a store. But if you go online, their music is everywhere. It's so weird. What would you give this EP? This piece of shit with bad MySpace artwork on the cover.
Yeah, bad MySpace art is right. Yeah. I was gonna say like the only thing they have going for them are like some okay visuals later on, like that Forever Halloween album cover is pretty cool.
Yeah, I do actually like that album cover because I remember when that one came out, I was like, "Hey, what's this?" And I was like, "Oh, the Maine."
And even that album Pioneer with the large bearded man wearing lipstick is like
that's something
incongruous visuals, you know, which I don't know that it's like, given the text of the lyrics on most of their songs, I don't get the feeling that this album cover is like a like pro queer identity, you know, like gender queer identity,
yeah,
like, non-binary. It's probably not.
I'm sure that's not what that's about.
It's probably like, it would be funny if a big bearded dude had on lipstick.
And that's probably the end of it. Looking at their album covers, they have 4 different releases with a face looking straight ahead. Mm-hmm. The Pioneer cover, the Forever Halloween has like his chest and arms in it, but he's still facing forward. And the American Candy is just like the lower half of a face and bubble gum. Yeah. And even the Way We Talk looks like a cartoon drawing of Taylor Swift with no eyes.
Yeah, I would. I can't rate this one very generously. Like you said, like 2.0 is kind of just like, you know, a baseline level if they're musically mm-hmm. competent. But I really feel like the lyrics drag this one down, and the lack of, like, I think I maybe would have rated those lyrics a little more generously if they had like seemed to improve or mature as people, but it doesn't seem like they have. In the little that
there
I
was
skimmed,
some creativity to it.
Yeah, right.
Like if there's
if they were like,
I'm willing to forgive bad subject matter if there's like partly forgive poor subject material if there's a lyricism to it. Like I believe you can write about bad things and still write very well. This is something bad and poorly written.
I mean, Jesse's Girl by Rick Springfield has better lyrics as far as like similar subject matter.
Yeah. She's hot, but
at least you get the feeling
not really.
That Rick Springfield is just playing an idiot and not actually an idiot. Yeah, I really don't think I can give this more than a 1.5.
Yeah.
Because it's already a style that I don't like. And then you make it, you know, the lyrics are like 2/3 misogyny. And then even then, not even like clever misogyny.
Yeah. Like I said, it saves the day at least like trying to write something, you know, like fucking Glassjaw, you know.
And like people have shitty relationships, you know. There's plenty of valid subject matter there for songs, and you can write about. I mean, I don't think that we need more straight white men writing about sex.
No.
You know, I think LGBT people or women writing about sex, then you can make a case like, all right, there's some sex positivity, but yeah, like dudes just being like hot girls and get out of here.
Well, let's wash our mouths out with soap, and hopefully our next our next albums will be much better for the show.
Let's So did we win this time?
Oh man, we broke even. We broke even.
Yeah, we won on the album side, and then we lost it all. We just didn't stop playing.
We were up and ahead, and then we lost it. Everything that we put in. So now is the time where we find out what we're going to be talking about on the next episode. And for the year, in our handy dandy number generator, we wound up with 1985.
All right. So I pulled the chart number between 1 and 425 for albums released in 1985 for punk, and got the number 39. And we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves for maybe some planned themed episodes coming up in October. But this will be a fun intro.
Spooky.
We got something spooky. We got The Damned, Phantasmagoria.
Oh shit. I know this album.
Yeah.
Phantasmagoria. It's the one with it's got a big song on that one.
I don't recognize any of these names off the top, but
Eloise, is that on there?
No.
Oh no, Eloise is not on there. It's a different one. Huh.
Yeah, this is
Still, I have listened to this album. I think I have it on my iTunes actually.
Some versions included Eloise, so
not the.
It is not on the actual
Spotify
track
version.
listing.
It's probably a bonus.
So
cool. Well, that's a great full length to have. That's like gothy.
that's
Damned. Well, in keeping with our kind of spooky theme, I got number 212 on the EP list, and it's the band Genocide, and the EP is called Violent Death. Oh boy!
all right.
They're a crossover thrash band. It's not on Spotify, but it is on YouTube. It's listed as a demo on YouTube, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Is a demo. Cool. Violent Death. Interesting. It's only 10 minutes long, so it won't be that hard.
So they're a crossover thrash band.
Yeah.
Okay.
Could be interesting.
Yeah. Let's give it a shot. We'll see how it sounds.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to talk about the Damned, though.
Yeah.
For Halloween month.
Yeah, we're getting. Yeah,
We'll lay out our plans next week, but we got something kind of fun for the month of October.
Yeah. This will be the intro to that. So we'll have maybe more episodes. Maybe we'll just keep it to what we originally planned. Have this be the first episode. We'll see.
All right then. If you like what you hear, please rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes, because that's the place where rating or reviewing matters the most. It gets us on charts and helps people find us easier. But we're also on Spotify, Google Play, and Stitcher Radio. We have a website. It's punklautopod.simplecast.fm. We're also on Twitter and Instagram as punklautopod, and we have an email, and that's punklautopod@gmail.com. Send us your messages. Tell us what you think of the show. If you're in a band, send us your album or your EP or a link to your Bandcamp so that we can check you guys out and see if if we like it. Maybe we'll talk about it on the show. We're always looking for new music here, so
Yeah, I'd rather hear it from you. If you think, based on our tastes from what we've talked about, that we'd like your band, send it to us.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well,
and I guess we'll sign off here.
We'll see you next time.
We'll talk at you later. Literally.
Yeah.
That's the medium. All right. Bye, guys.